Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to celebrate the union of Kelvin Okafor and Chioma Ngozi.
I can't believe this is finally happening.
Neither can I.
If anyone has any lawful reason why these two should not be joined together, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Adaeze, what are you doing here?
I came to answer the minister's question. This wedding cannot continue.
Enough of this nonsense, leave. No! Security, remove her immediately! Before they touch me. Perhaps Kelvin should explain where the money for this wedding came from.
Adaeze, please.
Please? You didn't say please when you stole from me. You didn't say please when you betrayed me. You didn't say please when you stole from the company. What company?
Silvercrest Holdings.
What does that have to do with this wedding? Everything. Because every flower, every decoration, every luxury car, every design outfit, every celebration was paid for using stolen company funds. Lying! Kelvin?
Chioma, listen.
No. Today everybody listens. I am one of the owners of Silvercrest Holdings. That's impossible!
Before that wedding day became the most talked about scandal in the city, before police officers marched into a decorated church, before a bride dropped her bouquet in shame, before a proud mother discovered that the rich son-in-law she celebrated was nothing but a well-dressed criminal, there was Adaeze. Adaeze Ngozi was the kind of woman people underestimated because she did not announce herself loudly. She was quiet, observant, hardworking, the type of woman who could enter a room, notice every detail, understand every silence, and still say nothing. In her family, silence had become her survival skill. Because from childhood, Adaeze knew one painful truth. Her elder sister Chioma was the golden child. Chioma was beautiful, bold, dramatic, and impossible to ignore. When guests came to the house, Mama Ngozi presented Chioma first. When relatives brought gifts, Chioma selected first. When compliments were given, Chioma collected them like trophies. Even when Chioma made mistakes, Mama Ngozi always found a way to defend her. But when Adaeze made the smallest error, the whole house became a courtroom. Adaeze, why are you always careless? Adaeze, why can't you be like your sister? Adaeze, learn how to carry yourself. Those words followed her for years. They entered her skin slowly. They taught her not to expect praise. They taught her not to beg for love. They taught her to build herself quietly. While Chioma invested in attention, Adaeze invested in growth. She studied business, learned accounting, attended investment seminars, worked with property developers, saved money aggressively. And slowly, while her family still saw her as the ordinary daughter, Adaeze was quietly becoming extraordinary. Years later, she became one of the silent owners of Silvercrest Holdings, a fast-growing property and investment company. She did not post about it. She did not boast. She even did not tell her mother. To Adaeze, wealth did not need noise. But life has a way of testing quiet people with loud betrayal. And Adaze's test came in the form of a handsome man named Kelvin Okafor. Kelvin was charming, polished, well-spoken, the kind of man who knew how to make a woman feel seen. When he first met Adaeze at a business seminar, he treated her with a level of respect she rarely received at home. He listened when she spoke, he admired her intelligence, he praised her calmness. For once, Adaeze felt chosen, not managed, not tolerated, chosen. Within months, their friendship became love, and for the first time in a long while, Adaeze allowed herself to dream. She imagined a peaceful marriage, a supportive husband, a home where love was not divided like family inheritance. Kelvin also seemed ambitious. He told her he wanted to build something meaningful. He said he hated depending on people. He said he wanted a woman who believed in his future before the world saw it. And Adaeze believed him. That belief became her first mistake. Because love can make a wise woman generous. And generosity, when given to the wrong man, becomes a weapon against her. When a senior operations role opened at Silvercrest Holdings, Adaeze recommended Kelvin. She used her influence quietly, spoke to the board, supported his application. And because she was one of the owners, her word carried weight. Kelvin got access. Access to meetings, access to projects, access to accounts, access to power. At first, he behaved responsibly. He arrived early, submitted reports, impressed investors. Everyone thought Adaze had recommended the right man. Even Adaze felt proud. She looked at Kelvin and saw a future husband rising. But hidden inside Kelvin was a hunger she did not yet understand. He did not just want success. He wanted people to worship it. He wanted luxury cars, designer watches, private lounges, social media admiration. He wanted to look rich before he became rich. And when a man becomes addicted to appearing wealthy, he will eventually sacrifice truth to maintain the image. The first missing money was small. A delayed vendor payment, a suspicious reimbursement, a project expense that looked slightly inflated. Adaze noticed it, but she did not react immediately. Because intelligent people do not shout at the first sign of danger. They observe. And Adaze began observing Kelvin more closely. What she discovered next would eventually lead her straight to his wedding altar.
You always look like you're thinking 10 steps ahead.
Maybe because people usually reveal themselves before they realize it.
Should I be scared?
Only if you're hiding something.
From you? Never.
Good. Because trust is expensive for me.
Then I'll spend my whole life proving I deserve it.
Don't promise what you cannot carry.
Adaze, I love you, and one day I'll marry you properly.
Properly? Then don't ever embarrass me.
Never.
When Kelvin finally visited Adaze's family house, Mama Ngozi almost changed overnight. For years, she treated Adaze like an afterthought. But the moment Kelvin arrived in a black luxury SUV, wearing an expensive watch and speaking with the calm confidence of a wealthy man, Mama Ngozi suddenly remembered that Adaze was also her daughter. She smiled too widely, served the best food, called neighbors indirectly, adjusted her wrapper every few minutes, because in Mama Ngozi's world, respect was often measured by the size of a man's pocket. Kelvin knew how to perform wealth. He entered the house like someone used to admiration. He greeted elders properly, spoke about property investments, mentioned board meetings, talked about international partners. Every sentence sounded expensive. Mama Ngozi was impressed. Even Chief Ngozi, Adaze's father, quietly nodded with approval. But one person did not smile genuinely. Chioma. From the moment Kelvin entered, Chioma watched him differently. Not like a sister happy for her younger sibling, like a woman calculating opportunity. Chioma had always believed the best things in life should come to her first. The best clothes, the best compliments, the best attention, the best men. So when she saw her quiet younger sister sitting beside a rich, handsome man who treated her with respect, something ugly stirred inside her. Jealousy. At first, she hid it well. She smiled, served drinks, complimented Adaze's dress, called Kelvin our in-law playfully. But behind the smile, Chioma was asking herself one question. How did Adaze get this man? To Chioma, it felt like an insult. Not because she loved Kelvin, she barely knew him, but because Adaze had something she did not. And for a woman like Chioma, that alone was enough reason to destroy it. Over the following weeks, Chioma became unusually interested in Kelvin. She asked Kelvin questions casually. What does Kelvin do exactly? Is he really that rich? Does he have brothers? Does he spoil you? Adaze answered innocently. She did not suspect her own sister. That was another mistake. Because betrayal from strangers can wound you, but betrayal from blood can rearrange your whole understanding of love. Soon, Chioma started calling Kelvin. At first, it was harmless, a message to thank him for visiting. Then another message asking for business advice. Then another one claiming she needed help with a property issue. Kelvin responded politely in the beginning, but Chioma understood men like him. Men who enjoyed admiration. Men who wanted to feel powerful. Men who loved being desired. She praised him carefully. "You are so intelligent. Adaze is lucky. I've never met a man this focused." Every compliment fed Kelvin's ego. And slowly the conversations became warmer, longer, more private. Adaza noticed slight changes, but love made her patient. Kelvin became more protective of his phone, more absent-minded, more concerned about appearance. He started spending beyond his known income, new suits, new watches, luxury hotel meetings, unnecessary trips. At Silvercrest Holdings, Adaze also noticed the financial irregularities increasing. But instead of confronting him emotionally, she took a professional step. She quietly requested internal reviews, checked approval trails, compared project budgets, asked questions without mentioning Kelvin's name. And what she found troubled her deeply. Because now, the problem was no longer just relationship suspicion, it was corporate fraud. Still, she stayed silent. Not because she was weak, but because evidence speaks louder than pain. Meanwhile, Chioma's secret communication with Kelvin was becoming bolder. One evening, Adaze called Kelvin 3 times. He did not answer. Later, he claimed he had been in a strategy meeting. But that same night, Chioma came home smelling of a familiar cologne, Kelvin's cologne. Adaze noticed. Her chest tightened. But she said nothing. Because sometimes the heart knows the truth before the mouth is ready to pronounce it. And then, one Sunday afternoon, during a family lunch, Chioma made the first open move.
Kelvin, my son, eat more meat. A man working hard must eat well.
Thank you, Ma.
Mommy, don't overfeed him before Adaze starts complaining.
Aiza? Complaining? She should be grateful a man like this even found her.
Mama. What? Did I lie?
Mommy, leave her now.
No, Ma. Adaze is a good woman.
A wife must also know how to keep a man in.
Some women are too quiet. Men get bored easily.
Chima, what is that supposed to mean?
Nothing. I'm only speaking generally.
Let's not turn lunch into an argument.
Then maybe people should stop insulting me at my own table.
Adaze lowered her eyes that afternoon, not because she had nothing to say, but because she was beginning to understand that the enemy was no longer outside her family. It was sitting beside her, smiling. After that lunch, Adaze's relationship with Kelvin began to lose its warmth, not suddenly, slowly, like a candle dying in a room where nobody opens the window. He still called her, still visited, still said, "I love you," but something had changed. His words arrived without weight. His touch became distracted. His eyes no longer rested on her the way they used to. And Adaze, being the observant woman she was, felt every distance. But what hurt her most was not just Kelvin's change, it was Chioma's confidence. Her sister no longer behaved like someone hiding a secret. She dressed more carefully whenever Kelvin was around. She laughed too loudly at his jokes. She found reasons to sit beside him. Once, Adaze entered the sitting room and found Chioma adjusting Kelvin's tie. They both stepped apart quickly, too quickly. Adaze stared at them. Kelvin laughed nervously and said Chioma was only helping him before a meeting. Chioma added that Adaze was becoming too suspicious. Mama Ngozi immediately supported Chioma. "Stop embarrassing yourself," she said. "You are lucky to have a man like Kelvin. Don't chase him away with insecurity." That sentence stayed with Adaze. Insecurity. People love using that word when they want a woman to ignore what her spirit is already warning her about. So Adaze stopped arguing. She stopped asking too many questions. She stopped showing pain publicly. Instead, she focused on two investigations. One inside her heart, one inside Silvercrest Holdings. The company investigation moved faster than she expected. The internal audit team discovered unusual withdrawals from project accounts. Funds meant for land acquisition had been diverted. Consultancy fees were paid to fake companies. Construction budgets were inflated by millions. And every trail somehow passed near Kelvin. Adaeze felt sick, not because she was surprised anymore, but because she had helped him enter that company. She had trusted him with access. She had defended his competence before the board. She had placed power in the hands of a man who was now using that power to decorate his lies. Yet, she still needed proof strong enough to arrest. So, she contacted an external forensic auditor secretly. She instructed him to review every transaction connected to Kelvin's department. No noise, no warning, no confrontation, just facts. While Adaeze was building evidence quietly, Chioma was building betrayal boldly. She began telling close relatives that Kelvin deserved a more presentable woman. She implied Adaeze was too serious, too plain, too business-minded, too cold. The same family members who once ignored Adaeze now began advising her to soften up before Kelvin changed his mind. Nobody asked whether Kelvin was loyal. Nobody asked whether Chioma was crossing boundaries. Everybody placed the burden of keeping the relationship on Adaeze. That is how unfair families destroy quiet daughters. They demand endurance from the wounded and excuses for the guilty. Then, one evening, Kelvin invited Adaeze to dinner. The venue was beautiful. Soft lights, elegant music, a table near the window. For a moment, Adaeze thought maybe they would finally talk honestly. Maybe he would confess. Maybe he would apologize. Maybe love still had a chance. But Kelvin had not invited her to repair anything. He had invited her to end everything. And he did it with the calmness of a man who had already replaced her.
You sounded serious on the phone.
I didn't want to say this carelessly.
Say what?
I think we should pause the engagement plans.
Pause?
I gave you access to rooms you could never enter by yourself. I stood by you. I trusted you.
And I appreciate that. Is there someone else?
Look at me and answer.
It's complicated.
No, Kelvin. Betrayal is not complicated. It is deliberate. Is it Chioma? My own sister?
I didn't plan it.
Thieves always say that after they are caught.
Kelvin reached for her hand, but Adaeze pulled away slowly. Not because she no longer loved him, but because something inside her had just died quietly. That night, Adaeze did not cry in the restaurant. She did not scream. She did not throw water in Kelvin's face. She did not beg him to choose her. She simply stood up, carried her handbag, and walked out with the kind of silence that frightens guilty people. But when she got home, the pain finally found her. She sat on the floor beside her bed and cried like a woman mourning two deaths: the man she loved and the sister she trusted. It is one thing for a stranger to steal from you. It is another thing for blood to look at your happiness and decide it should belong to them instead. For days, Adaeze moved like someone walking through smoke. She answered work calls, reviewed documents, signed reports, attended meetings, but her heart was bleeding behind her calm face. Meanwhile, Chioma wasted no time. Within 2 weeks, the secret relationship became public. Not officially, but publicly enough. Kelvin started visiting the family house again. This time, not for Adaeze, for Chioma. Mama Ngozi pretended to be shocked at first, but her shock did not last long, because Kelvin was still rich in her eyes, still polished, still useful, and if Adaeze could not keep him, maybe Chioma deserved him. That was how Mama Ngozi justified betrayal. She called it destiny. She said maybe Kelvin and Chioma were better matched. She said love could not be forced. She said Adeze should not block her sister's happiness. Adeze listened to those words and realized something heartbreaking. Her family did not just choose Chioma. They expected Adeze to bless the knife used against her. Chief Ngozi, her father, tried to remain neutral. But neutrality in the face of injustice is quiet support for the oppressor. He told Adeze to be mature. He told Chioma to be careful. He told Mama Ngozi not to shout. But he never stood firmly between her daughters and declared that betrayal was wrong. So Adeze stood alone. At family meetings, relatives avoided her eyes. At church, people whispered. Online, Chioma began posting soft pictures of flowers, luxury meals, and expensive gifts. God's timing is perfect, one caption read. Adeze saw it and almost laughed, because some people call theft a blessing when they are the ones enjoying stolen things. But while Chioma celebrated, Adeze's auditors were uncovering something darker. Kelvin had not only mismanaged company funds, he had created an entire lifestyle from stolen money. The cars, the hotel bills, the watches, the gifts he gave Chioma, even the lavish traditional introduction he was planning. Everything was connected to Silvercrest Holdings. Every romantic gesture was funded by corporate theft. So, Adeze made a decision. She would not fight in the marketplace. She would not drag Chioma online. She would not beg Kelvin. She would let them climb higher. She would let them celebrate louder. She would let the whole city gather. Then, when Kelvin stood proudly before everyone as a successful groom, she would reveal what kind of man he really was. But before Adeze could complete her evidence file, Chioma did something that broke the last remaining thread of sisterhood between them. She sent Adeze a wedding invitation.
You are invited to the holy matrimony of Chioma Ngozi and Kelvin Okafor. Hello, did you get it? You sent me your wedding invitation.
Of course, you're still my sister.
Still my sister.
My sister. My sister? Adeze, don't be bitter or ever.
And sometimes a woman steals what she cannot build. If he was yours, I wouldn't have been able to take him. Enjoy the wedding, Chioma. You should come. It will help you accept reality. At least you're finally being mature.
Chioma smiled after that call because she thought she had won. But Adeze smiled too because she knew the wedding day was no longer just a ceremony. It was a trap. After the wedding invitation arrived, Adeze stopped crying. That surprised even her, because for months, pain had followed her everywhere. It followed her to work, followed her into meetings, followed her into bed at night. But now, something had changed. The tears were gone, and in their place stood clarity. For the first time since Kelvin's betrayal, she stopped asking why, stopped asking how, stopped asking what she could have done differently. Because the truth was finally obvious. Kelvin did not betray her because she lacked something. He betrayed her because he lacked integrity, character, contentment. The same hunger that made him steal company money, made him steal trust. The same greed that made him chase luxury, made him chase Chioma. And now, that greed was about to destroy him. Inside Silvercrest Holdings, the investigation intensified quietly. The external auditors worked day and night. Every account was examined, every invoice reviewed, every transaction traced. The deeper they dug, the uglier the picture became. Millions of naira had disappeared. Fake suppliers existed only on paper. Construction contracts were inflated, luxury expenses disguised as operational costs, private vacations hidden inside project budgets, and Kelvin's signature appeared everywhere. Adeze read the reports alone at night. Each page felt heavier than the last, because every fraudulent document reminded her of something painful. This was the man she once defended, the man she once imagined spending her life with, the man she introduced into the company. And now he was stealing from the very people who trusted him. Yet, Kelvin remained confident, dangerously confident, because he believed Adaeze was broken. He believed heartbreak had distracted her. He believed she was too emotional to notice what he was doing. That assumption became his biggest mistake. Because while Kelvin underestimated Adaeze, Adaeze was building the case that would destroy him. Meanwhile, Chioma's wedding preparations became the talk of the city.
This is the one.
Every week brought another celebration, another expensive event, another social media post, another display of wealth.
I think
Designer
this is the
dresses, luxury hotels, professional photographers, celebrity appearances. Everything screamed success. But nobody knew the truth. Nobody knew the wedding budget was funded by stolen money. Nobody knew Kelvin was financing romance with corporate theft. Nobody knew every champagne bottle and every flower arrangement carried the fingerprints of fraud. The city saw a fairy tale. Adaeze saw evidence. And soon, evidence would become handcuffs.
We've confirmed everything.
How bad is it?
Worse than we expected.
Tell me.
The missing funds exceed 100 million naira.
100 million.
And that's only what we've proven so far.
Can we tie it directly to Kelvin?
Every major transaction leads back to him.
Would it hold in court?
Without question.
Nothing, not yet.
Why?
Because Kelvin is planning a wedding.
While Adaeze prepared patiently, Kelvin and Chioma prepared proudly. Neither of them noticed danger approaching. This is often how downfall works. It rarely announces itself. It arrives quietly, then suddenly becomes unavoidable. One afternoon, Chioma visited Mama Ngozi to discuss final wedding plans. Excitement filled the house. Guest lists covered the dining table. Samples of wedding gowns hung nearby. Invitation cards were stacked neatly. Everything looked perfect. Mama Ngozi could hardly contain her happiness. After years of comparing her daughters, she finally believed Chioma had won. In her mind, the competition was over. Chioma was marrying wealth. Adaeze was left behind. Justice, however, was preparing a different ending. As they discussed decorations, Mama Ngozi suddenly asked a question. A harmless question, yet one that revealed more than she intended. She asked whether Adaeze would attend. Chioma laughed, a confident laugh, the laugh of someone who believed victory was permanent. Oh, she'll come, she said. She has no choice. But Chioma misunderstood something important. Adaeze was not attending because she was heartbroken. She was attending because she was ready. Ready to expose, ready to reveal, ready to finish what months of investigation had begun. Meanwhile, Kelvin became increasingly reckless. His spending exploded. He bought another luxury vehicle, booked an expensive honeymoon, paid huge deposits for wedding vendors. Every transaction created another piece of evidence. Every purchase tightened the noose. But Kelvin couldn't see it, because arrogance blinds people before consequences arrive, and nobody was more arrogant than Kelvin. Until one evening, he received a phone call that disturbed him deeply. A call from the company compliance department.
Hello?
Good evening, sir.
Yes?
We need clarification regarding several transactions linked to your department.
What transactions?
Some irregular financial records.
Perhaps.
But the board is requesting documentation.
The board? Yes. Who requested this review? I don't have authorization to discuss that.
Fear is a strange thing. Once it enters the mind, everything changes. Suddenly, Kelvin became paranoid. Every email felt suspicious. Every meeting felt dangerous. Every phone call sounded threatening. He began reviewing old records, deleting messages, contacting associates, trying desperately to discover who was investigating him. But every answer led nowhere. The investigation remained invisible. That invisibility terrified him, because enemies are easier to fight when you can see them. Meanwhile, Adaze remained silent. She attended meetings normally, reviewed reports calmly, answered calls professionally. Not once did she reveal what she knew. Not once did she mention the wedding. Not once did she confront Kelvin. The silence tortured him more than accusations ever could. Because somewhere inside, Kelvin suspected the truth. He suspected Adaze knew. He just didn't know how much, and that uncertainty became unbearable. As wedding day approached, his anxiety worsened. But Chioma noticed none of it. She remained obsessed with appearances, the perfect dress, the perfect makeup, the perfect photographs, the perfect entrance. She was so focused on becoming a bride, she failed to notice she was walking toward a disaster. Then came the final audit report, the document Adaze had been waiting for, the document capable of ending everything. The evidence was complete, the case was ready. All that remained was timing, and Adaze already knew exactly when she wanted the truth revealed. Not before the wedding, not during preparations, not privately, publicly, in front of everybody. Exactly where the betrayal began, exactly where the lies were being celebrated, exactly where Kelvin believed he would be crowned victorious. The church, the altar, the wedding day.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to celebrate the union of Kelvin Okafor and Chioma Ngozi.
I can't believe this is finally happening.
Neither can I.
If anyone has any lawful reason why these two should not be joined together, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Adaeze, what are you doing here?
I came to answer the minister's question. This wedding cannot continue.
Enough of this nonsense, leave.
No! Security, remove her immediately!
Before they touch me, perhaps Kelvin should explain where the money for this wedding came from.
Adaeze, please.
Please? You didn't say please when you stole from me. You didn't say please when you betrayed me. You didn't say please when you stole from the company. What company?
Silvercrest Holdings.
What does that have to do with this wedding? Everything. Because every flower, every decoration, every luxury car, every design outfit, every celebration was paid for using stolen company funds. Lying!
Kelvin?
Chioma, listen.
No. Today everybody listens. I am one of the owners of Silvercrest Holdings.
That's impossible!
No. What's impossible is believing a thief could become rich this quickly without stealing. Years ago, I personally recommended Fifth his position. I trusted him, and he repaid that trust by stealing millions.
Adaeze, please.
For months, I watched quietly. I gathered evidence. I followed every track, every forged document, every illegal payment, every lie. And I waited. For today, both of you would stamp everyone.
Mr. Kelvin Okafor, you are under arrest for fraud, embezzlement, forgery, and misappropriation of company funds.
This can't be happening! Wait! Listen!
You have the right to remain silent.
News of the scandal spread faster than wildfire. Within hours, videos from the church appeared everywhere online. People who once admired Kelvin suddenly pretended they never knew him. Business associates disappeared. Friends stopped answering calls. The company officially dismissed him. Court proceedings followed shortly afterward. The evidence was overwhelming, and eventually, Kelvin was convicted. Meanwhile, Chioma's world collapsed alongside his. The wedding never happened. The invitations became souvenirs of humiliation. The dress became a painful memory. The dreams she stole from her sister dissolved before her eyes. For months, she avoided public gatherings, avoided social media, avoided mirrors, because every reflection reminded her of choices she could not undo. Mama Ngozi suffered most of all. For years, she believed favoritism was harmless. For years, she excused Chioma's behavior. For years, she underestimated Adaeze. Now, reality stood before her. The daughter she ignored had become the strongest woman in the family, and the daughter she protected had destroyed herself. For the first time in her life, Mama Ngozi felt genuine regret. Not embarrassment, regret. The kind that keeps people awake at night. And eventually, she decided to visit Adaeze, not as a proud mother, as a broken one.
Adaeze, I don't know where to begin. I failed you for years, and I kept failing you even when you needed me most. I am sorry.
Do you know what hurt the most?
No.
Not Kelvin, not Chioma, you. Because mothers are supposed to protect their children, not choose favorites. Can you ever forgive me?
Forgiveness and trust are not the same thing. I forgive you, but some won't include this. What happened to me taught me something important. Nobody can steal your value unless you hand it to them.
As Adaeze walked away, she was no longer the forgotten daughter, no longer the betrayed fiancé, no longer the quiet sister standing in someone else's shadow. She was simply a woman who survived betrayal and refused to let it define her. Because sometimes the sweetest revenge is not destroying those who hurt you. It is becoming everything they believed you never could. Thank you for watching, sweet folks. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another sweet and captivating story from us. Tell us in the comments, did Adaeze do the right thing by exposing Kelvin on the wedding day? Or should she have warned Chioma privately? Also, let us know where you are watching from. Your voice matters here. And if you'd like to learn how to create powerful African folktale and cinematic storytelling content like this, the sweetest faceless content blueprint is live. Stay and enjoy more stories on this channel. We remain the one and only sweetest African folktales. Love you, sweet folks.